Hi, everyone. I'm Kathy Zant with WordCamp Phoenix, and we are here with Adam Warner from GoDaddy. GoDaddy is one of the global sponsors, and you are doing what? The Prince of Bel-Air. We're doing the whole 90s retro theme, and GoDaddy is a Prince of Bel-Air, which is our top tier gold sponsorship. So thank you for that, Adam, and thank you, GoDaddy.
Of course. We wouldn't have it any other way.
Yeah. So are you kind of a kid of the 90s?
I'm a child of the 70s, 80s, and 90s.
Okay.
I would say. I watched The Fresh Prince of Bel-Air religiously, so I'm very familiar. I love the theme. I love the theme of Phoenix, and I love the theme last year, too. You guys always put on a great event.
Thank you. Yeah, we have some pretty creative people on our team. So yeah, it's definitely, I'm really so happy to see that WordCamp Phoenix is really taking full advantage of Gutenberg with the website. That was just like such an amazing thing to see and make it retro at the same time. So that was pretty cool. So how many people are going to be representing GoDaddy at WordCamp Phoenix?
We will have a sponsor booth, and we will have a booth staff of 3 to 4 people. And then because GoDaddy is based in Scottsdale, Tempe, and Gilbert, we will have a lot of internal people attending the camp because as part of my job and part of my passion within WordPress and the community specifically, working for GoDaddy gives me the ability to prompt more people to get involved in contributing to the project itself. So it's a really easy location for us to do that. So there'll be, I don't know how many, but as many as we can get there, because the benefit is, of course, of when you're talking to customers or you're building products or you're marketing, understanding who the actual people behind the platform are is beneficial. So we'll have a few people there, and then one of our GoDaddy Pro ambassadors, Ali Nimmons, will be speaking there as well.
That's great. It sounds like there's going to be a lot of GoDaddy people at WordCamp Phoenix. That's going to be exciting. There's going to be over 500 people in attendance, and our speaker lineup is looking incredible. Is there anything that you can tease about what GoDaddy might be bringing to the sponsor area?
I wish I could, but I really don't know yet. We always try to make sure that anything that we, so we're talking about swag, anything that we have at the booth in terms of things to give to attendees to kind of commemorate their time at the event, and of course have some recognition of our brand. We like to do, but we like to make sure it's as sustainable as it can be and as useful as it can be. We don't want to hand out, a plastic frisbee and have it be tossed in the garbage the next day or something. So we'll have something good, I'm sure, but we will definitely have some kind of social game happening and some kind of a giveaway. So that's kind of TBD right now. We're still planning, and there's a lot of event planning going on. So Phoenix is number one, of course, though.
Yeah, awesome. Yeah, some of the things that you guys have been doing was just sort of the social games that really sort of amp up the connections that people can make at an event like this. I mean, it's great to go and learn. There's so much to be learned at a WordCamp, but you really bring the social and community aspect of it and really make it fun, not just for the people who are there connecting with new people, but everybody who's sort of like FOMO at home watching on social media. It's really fun. You've had like stickers. What are some of the fun things that you guys have done in the past?
Yeah, well, thanks for the kind words. I appreciate that. So one of the goals when we're at events is to get more involved in the community, and you can only go to so many sessions. There's only so much time at Contributor Day. But one of the goals is to connect the attendees, not just with our brand or our sponsors and other sponsors, but with each other, because that's what this project and this community is all about. And that's how we're all going to grow together. So one of the things we did last year quite a few times was called Find Your Pro Partner. And it was matching stickers. And if you found someone with a matching sticker, you took a selfie, the relevant hashtags, and then you were entered to win our drawing at the end of the event. So because people are choosing to participate in finding the pro partner, it helps people who may have otherwise not met or not felt open enough to communicate or introduce themselves. It gives them a reason to connect. We'll be doing something similar to that, I think. But again, I guess you'll just have to buy your WordCamp Phoenix ticket and attend to find out.
Definitely. When you're at an event like this and there's so many other people around, if you are new to WordPress and you don't know, and you're just there with maybe yourself and a friend, getting out of that sort of social bubble is difficult. And it gives a definite way to just say, hey, look at this connection here. And who knows where that can go.
And some people may not believe this about me if you know me at all, but I've been to events before where I've been the wallflower and I've felt totally totally introverted, and that's okay. But you get a much better experience, I think, by putting yourself out there and interacting when you can. And I hope to try and make that easier for people who that may not come naturally to.
Yeah, and just in the conversations that you've had with people, like Max, my son, who was new to WordPress just this past year, but every time he sees you, you always you're so warm to him and so welcoming to like a young 18-year-old kid who doesn't know anybody in WordPress. Now he does, and now he can come to an event and see people like you, especially you, because you've always been just so open and welcoming to anyone who's new to WordPress. And that's really awesome. And that kind of goes along with what GoDaddy does. GoDaddy is kind of like the first entree into a website for a lot of people. It's where they've registered their domain. It's where they start out, with their first website. And so how working at GoDaddy, that kind of just fits in with what you're all about anyway. What are you seeing that's new at GoDaddy that's helping people really be successful with their websites?
Well, I've been with GoDaddy for just over a year now in the field marketing manager position, which means I'm at a lot of events, mostly WordCamps, but other WordPress related events. And before coming on, I had seen how GoDaddy had come into the space 3-4 years earlier with Mendel Kerlin, and he did a great job of coming in, listening to the community of users, and then taking that back and having the company build products that were directly useful for those users, and the different flows of how things work when you're setting up hosting and onboarding and all of that stuff. And so I was aware that they were doing good things. And when I was talking to them about this position, I was told, the internal culture is very empowering, and all of the things that someone considering coming on to a company would want to hear, right? All of the good stuff. And so you take that by default with a bit of a grain of salt, because I'm not an idiot, right? But I can safely say that I have experienced nothing but empowerment and support from the company culture as a whole, and also from the immediate team that I work with, and also others within the organization. There's over 9,000 people that work for GoDaddy worldwide. And one of the core values internally is called join forces. And so it's not rare for me to ping someone who's on a senior leadership team somewhere else and say, hey, I'm so-and-so, and this is what I'm trying to find out, and can you help me? And I've never, ever had anyone say, nope, that's not my job. It's just that kind of empowerment between employees that's really, really good. So over the past year, since I've been with the company, the GoDaddy Pro platform and program has seen a complete facelift. Our core team is focused on enhancing that for the end user. So there's a lot of great things going on there. And then company-wide, we've released the new version of the WordPress hosting and the onboarding process. This is mostly for someone who isn't into WordPress every day, but like you said, comes to GoDaddy as their kind of their first introduction into running their own site. And I would welcome anyone listening to this to go to GoDaddy and, if you can, try that new onboarding experience when you buy WordPress hosting. It's really, really slick, very smooth. They have a 70% reduction in the amount of steps that it takes to go from buying a domain to having a beautiful site up and running. It's really quite a process. And then we've released our WooCommerce hosting platform and packages. So that's been pretty exciting. Those things were all last fall. So in 2020, we're gearing up to do a lot of cool things.
It sounds like it. Very cool. And GoDaddy just keeps growing and keeps really looking at what WordPress users really need and just making it easier and better as an experience just to take care of everything with your site. It's really been cool to see over just like the past even few years.
Yeah, I'm just really proud to work for this company. Our new CEO, Aman Bhutani, I think he's been in the role of 3 or 4 months now. His mandate is that we are an end user focused company. So, nice. Which aligns perfectly with my own philosophy and the philosophy of probably everyone in the company. Not that they weren't before, but this mandate really gives a lot of teams a very specific focus. So for me as a user first, that's welcome news. So I think it's going to create some really cool things.
Yeah, that sounds really awesome. How does attending a WordCamp inform GoDaddy about product or service or what happens on the day-to-day?
Sure. Well, part of my role and part of my responsibility is not just to go out there and give things away and, hey, we're GoDaddy. Woo-hoo.
So you do that well.
Though that's the fun part of the job, right? Because everybody appreciates some fun things, I think.
Yeah.
But really, what I see as my main role is to interact with the project, the software itself. Just I would anyway because it's just who I am. But to really dig in and highlight the pain points that people are experiencing with products, processes that GoDaddy provides. Right. So I can say, okay, I keep hearing this out in the field, this one problem, and then I take that back internally and I raise the red flag, and I'm the squeaky wheel. So that's a really important part of my role, is because if we're not out in the community of users of any particular software or product that we're utilizing, then we're in an echo chamber.
Right.
And we have no understanding of what people actually want and need. So
I think what ends up happening is you start imagining I would like it this way, but you're just like a committee of one. You know what I mean?
I have a perfect example of how I did that and how it didn't turn out. When I was part of Foo Plugins still. I was the co-founder of this plugin business called Foo Plugins, and I'm no longer with the company. But years ago, I had this idea because I was creating a lot of WordPress tutorial blog posts. And with tutorial posts, I was making screencast videos, but I was also making written versions of it that included screenshots with annotations on the screenshot for what was happening. And so what I really wanted was a way for me to take a screenshot, annotate it, and then upload it directly into my WordPress media library. And then from there, insert it into the post where I wanted it. I had our team work on this for 6-7 months. It was called Foo Capture. And we released it, and it was crickets. Really? Because I was the only one who really wanted it. It didn't seem that the space in general had a need for that at all. And we came into it with a million other screenshot tools, of course. And this was a Chrome extension, and it just didn't fly. So That's part of being in an echo chamber. If I would have sent out a survey, maybe, or asked on social, did a poll or something, maybe I would have had some insight. But talking to the actual community of users is super important.
It is, definitely. I mean, a lot of times there's so many great products and services that I've come across over the years that have had their genesis with a specific, I need this, so I'm going to build this. But if you can build it, but if it doesn't have the market to like tie into, there's that connection that needs to be made. So, wow, we're teaching people and talking about, WordCamp too. Isn't this great?
Yeah, exactly. And if you build it, sometimes they won't come.
Yeah, exactly. So, well, good story. So learn from Adam and Adam's experience there, definitely. Well, I guess what people need to do is come to WordCamp Phoenix. And if you're using GoDaddy or if you're curious about what's new with GoDaddy, stop by the booth and chat. And if there's something that you want a hosting provider to do more of for you, they're listening, right? So it's going to be a great experience all around. So, Adam, where can people find you on social media, or whereabouts are you on the web if they want to connect and learn more?
These days, I am mostly on Twitter. I am at WP Modder. That's WPMODDER. Or you can find me at adamwmorder.com or talkinghuman.com, a little side passion project of mine. If you're interested in working in the community or finding out how you do brand advocacy, I'll be sharing some information there, and hopefully it goes well.
Awesome. Well, thank you for taking the time to talk to me today. And thank you for sponsoring WordCamp Phoenix.
Of course, Kathy. Always a pleasure.